I'm Ann Morrison,
And I'm Blake Walton. Welcome to.
holding down the fort. I am out on the road with a Broadway tour of Kimberly Akimbo.
And I'm in Sarasota, Florida, holding down the fort. We thought it might be fun for us to share our experiences and discoveries of what it's like for Annie on the road.
And Blake back in Sarasota holding down the fort. Sit back and enjoy.
Hopefully, be part of our conversation.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Annie. So, where are you?
Well, right now I am in my second week in Philadelphia, and
Oh,
we've been
great.
playing the Academy of Music, and I'm about in a hotel about 5 minutes away. And
And this is your hotel room?
this is the hotel room. So,
It's like an apartment.
over there's the front door. So I can do this way.
Yeah, okay.
Part of the kitchen, and over
Well,
here.
you're a Broadway actress. You can't be expected to be able to point correctly. So that's all there is to it. Unless it's
There's a
in the
closet
script.
there. That's where the washer and dryer is. Over that way is my bedroom, and over there's the bathroom.
Very good.
Yeah.
Great. I love it. So you've had quite a time in Philadelphia, haven't
I
you?
have. It's an exhausting time. Let me tell you what happened. It was intense because the first week we were after the first week we were going to say goodbye to Miguel, who plays Seth, and
Yes.
Pierce, who plays Aaron. They're finishing their contract, and their replacements were coming in this week. So we had Ryan and Brittany, who deal with all the associate directing and choreography, come in to work with all of them. And then on that Thursday was what we had our put in, which is pretty much almost a complete tech with all us guys in it. And so, yeah, last week I really had 9 shows. It was very tiring.
So just for those who don't know what this is, a
Mhm.
put-in is bringing in
New
somebody who's
actors, right?
playing
New actors
next week.
for the show, right? So they had
You
a
had
chance to
one
be
in
walk the
Cleveland.
stage, do the stage with all the right cues. Know if they have to move props, anything like that. It's all done so they get it to be and to work with the company.
Right.
That's at large. So that was intense. And then of course I'm still new. I'm still new. So uh, when Jess Stone, the director, came in, she still had things she wanted to play with me. She said, "Oh, let's try this," and so there were lots of more notes that came in. I was like, "I'm so tired," but because I can't. They'll say, "Oh, just put some in when you're ready," blah blah blah. But no, me, I want to do it all right away. So then I wonder why I'm
So
tired.
notes like what? Like what would be in one
Um,
idea?
well, because I was put in not when the show was created with the road show. So I didn't have a long tech week tech days that everybody else had. And one of the beautiful thing about tech is everything slows down because the lights have to be adjusted and they discover a new light needs to go somewhere else. And so you have to go back. Oh, hi, Jacket. There's a cat. Then sounds are different. They have, we're going to reposition you on stage because this is where the light's going to come in. So all those things are slowed down. Well, I didn't get any of that. I was just thrown into it. So coming back in and then working with the new actors was an opportunity to redirect some things now that we knew, where things are. For instance, I never knew when I walked in during Father Time that the mother is singing a lullaby and I'm supposed to come into the bedroom and get into bed. I kind of followed what I saw Carol Lee. It looked like Carol Lee was doing. She's just marching in and getting in bed. But they really wanted me to slow down. So I didn't, well, of course, I don't pull focus, just naturally come in and get into bed. So that was a lovely note. Or I was turning to look at the bedroom a little too fast. And it was because all I needed to do was to turn my head and then bring the reality of the bedroom come in. Because in the way they see it, that everything is kind of in her head, she creates the next scene by her. Which way she turns is when the lockers come in. So in a sense, is she really there?
Mm,
And it's like when you're in a dream, all of a sudden you're in the next, you jump time because you're in
yeah.
a place in your dream. That's kind of what it feels like for me. So those were really lovely things to know because I didn't know
That's
that.
That's interesting
Yeah.
fine tuning to me. I mean, that's of course you wouldn't know that, and
Or
it
and,
takes
and
an
or like
outside eye to
right.
say.
When I get into the hospital bed, I hope I'm not giving things away. There's a time where I'm in a hospital bed for a little bit. I have to be careful what I say. But I'm a side sleeper, and I have a tailbone injury, so I have a tendency to want to curl up on the side. But they were looking at it and they found out what's wrong. And I went, oh, you know what? Can you put your head this way? Because it looks like you might be in a coma, and that's the kind of the. I went, oh yeah, so I can still made everything work. I can still curl my legs around and stay off of my tailbone, but I get what they wanted to. So little things like that um, are kind of lovely. So, and then Miguel was replaced with Marcus, who was the understudy, who's absolutely wonderful. He has a slightly different take, so now
Right,
we're finding our rhythm, and
right. And
because
so
of that, then that may adjust another piece of business that happened. So that was kind of
you
fun.
got a chance to work with Marcus one other time because
A couple of the times, actually,
you
because
were going on. You had an understudy rehearsal with him,
and then
so
I
you
had
got
it for a whole week because Miguel had to go
to.
off for a week, right?
That's right.
So we
Uh,
already have a relationship,
yeah,
which is
that's
great.
really great.
Um,
Um, by the way, while you're saying Miguel's finishing his contract, where's he going to?
oh, well, he's going back, sort of back to school. I mean, he's been doing school online.
Yes.
He's been finishing up a lot of that, but he is going to be in a Broadway show. He's going to be in The Lost Boys, and they start rehearsal, I think, in January. So he's got some things to tie up before he joins that. And
And this is his
Pierce, who
first.
left, is also going to be part of the show. And when we lost a Grace, um, she discovered she's also going to be in the show. So
I'm
those
so.
three are going to be back together again.
I talked over you with the second person that you said.
Pierce,
Yeah.
Pierce played Aaron. He left, but he's going to also be joining on the Lost Boys. And so
Great. I love
will
it.
Grace Kappas, who left already a couple weeks ago. She's already had a replacement. So, but the three of them will be back together again, which is really lovely.
And and Miguel is also, this is his first principal role
Exactly. Yeah.
in a new Broadway musical.
I know.
So
Isn't that
this is
great?
remarkable. His first role really was
Oh, yeah. Where
this.
he gets to create it. He's going to
Yeah,
finally see what it's like to be a part of something from the beginning.
right.
It's going to be
Yeah.
because he was the
He understudied on Broadway, didn't he?
on Broadway for Kimberly
Right.
Akimbo.
But that was great. So this first restart, start.
Yeah.
I love
So
that.
this week, we had our first for me, everybody else had of my first Wednesday matinee because we're not
Right.
going to have a Sunday night show.
Hmm.
And so, but it's attendance has been really bad this week, or just different. It's not hasn't been full. So they just didn't have enough people to warrant us to do a show tonight, a Halloween. By the way, happy Halloween, everybody. Happy Samhain.
Halloween. Um,
Um,
I want to go back to that last week because I want to get a little deep for a second because you're learning remarkable things on the road. There are all kinds of emotional and spiritual in the big spiritual sense.
because that's the kind
And
of gal I am.
yeah, really, um, and universal sense of learned things. So you got, if you can say it, I want you to tell us what happened when you did the show with the thoughts in your head about the notes that you were keeping
Oh,
there.
I
Your
kind of
experience of
I
it.
felt a little bit overwhelmed, and it happened once before, because I was processing so much stuff, and me, the kind of worker that I am, I want to get it all in, so I have time to see what works and what doesn't. That I felt like I was so in my head, I didn't know if I was being organic on stage,
Yes.
And I'm an organic actress, I'm not a robot actor. So that can be a delight and a curse at the same time. So I was weepy whenever I got off stage, and the stage manager was so sweet. They kept bringing tissues to me so I could do the show because I did the show. But I felt like I was so mental in my head, and Jess Stone was disappointed that she couldn't hug me after the show because I just wanted to go home. I was tired, and and process what just happened to me. And she said, I really wanted to hug you. You did an incredible show. I had no idea you were going to do all those notes.
Well, she used a few expletives that were so wonderful.
Yeah, but we won't say them
You don't
online.
have to say
It'll
what
be
they are
fun
now,
watching.
but it was ecstatic. It sounded like it was, and I got to hear her message to you. It was overwhelmingly ecstatic,
Yeah,
and
it was really lovely. And that was nice to know because I couldn't tell what effect I was having. I
yeah,
was so in my head. And she reminded me, well, sometimes we just have to be cerebral, you know,
right.
before we can find balance again.
And
So,
Sean sort of did the same thing when you said, I just feel like I'm all in my head during while you were doing it. And what did he say to you?
Sean, my stage manager,
Yeah,
he's like my
yeah,
big brother. I love him so.
yeah.
He also said you're amazing because you just do it.
But he
I
also said, "You're killing it. This is your best show yet."
Oh, okay. I don't remember. That was
I do.
time ago happening once.
It's
And
my
I
job.
ass. I don't even know anymore.
Um, it's a wonderful thing because your perception, and yes, you didn't get to have the same show that everybody else saw.
Mhm,
That's what we understand as actors. Sometimes we have to be in our head in a way that looks like they're they're getting all the best because that's what you're doing.
right.
But we are technicians, and there are times when we have to bring something in that's we think is technical because it's thought,
Mhm,
and we then don't get to just be
right,
um,
right, right,
because that's our job.
right.
And
There are parts of me that, and I've told you this before. I discovered it that I was doing it when I was doing Peg of My Heart or the musical Peg in London. That
yes,
when there's stillness on stage for me, like I have a long period of just listening to something, or I'm sleeping on the stage, or I have done this thing where I feels like I leave my body for a second. I trance out into the house. I get a chance to look at the experience and feel it from the audience's point of view. And then I lift up and I go back into my body. And I call that, I have checkpoints. I check to see if everything's in alignment in some other realm. I don't know what that's all about, but that's kind of what it's like. And so I couldn't do checkpoints that night because I had to stay so in my head. I couldn't be multidimensional. And so I
yes.
felt disoriented. For Annie, I felt disoriented because and that's perfectly all right. There's nothing wrong with that. Um,
No, because what we see is what we see. We
yeah,
see
right,
the same show.
right.
Um, um,
So goofy.
that's
Um,
that's fascinating
yeah.
to me. Um,
So
uh,
so let me go to this week. This week we had our two shows on Wednesday, and then we're not having a show tonight because of Halloween. So it's kind of nice because felt like 9 shows last week, but then we only have 7 this. So it feels like everything's
mhm.
balancing out. Um, and we have 2 shows tomorrow, and then 1 show on Sunday. And the creatives are coming on Sunday. So Janine Tesori and David Lindsay Abair are finally going to come. They've never seen me do it live. Part of me is nervous about that, but there's nothing I can do about it. I'm in the show and I'm doing the show and they either like it or not, but I don't think they'll fire me. I think we're okay. I'm expecting to get more notes. But we also had Chris Wick, who came in, who's also the music supervisor, who actually was really with Janine Tesori in the creation of this piece.
Right.
And
We've talked about him once before, and maybe our first
right,
podcast,
exactly.
because he is the
He's just a love.
supervisor.
He's just
He's the
a love.
boss of the orchestra, really, isn't he?
Right, and he really sat down and explained to me their thought process when they were creating the music. Like one beautiful little thing, he told me that both he and Janine were huge fans of in the 90s of the Indigo Girls. And I went, oh, totally. So once I knew that piece of information, that rooted me with Kimberly in her music world.
Yes.
So when he talked about certain phrases in, for instance, like make a wish, when she gets into where everything is beautiful, it's a resting point. It's a place. And when he said it's to me, I said, oh, that's her indigo girl moment in her expression of herself. You know, if she were going to be in her bedroom singing, whatever. That's kind of how I saw it. So when I get to that moment, I always think of him. It's like, I get this. I understand this on that level. So he came in because he had to look at the new people coming in to give notes. And he was so sweet. He said, I have a couple of things. You can put them in when you want to. But we're going to relax. We're going to relax the tempo in the beginning because it's going too fast. And I really want that Jersey sound. I want that Jersey relax. And it was gold because just that little bit of relax on that tempo made all the difference in the colors that you have to do in that number for me.
Right.
I really got that. Also, he relaxed a couple other places too, like in Anagram. He felt it was going a little too quickly, and she's trying to figure out why she likes him. And just that moment of relaxing really was the thing that really helped me get that. It was just brilliant. A couple things like that, or there was a note that Jessica Stone wanted. I think she got so used to hearing other actresses extend a note on something that she liked it better than it was written. And when I worked with him, I did what was written. I think they liked that someone new was coming in so they could actually maybe learn the music the way it was written. So, and I said, I'm a little confused. I don't know what to do because she says that, but we worked on this. He said, go back to the way it was written. I said, okay, thank you. And it makes sense when he explains why they wrote it that way, or little things like that. And it just made the show for me so much more magical. And he came in and he said, well, you did them all. Thank you. Okay. Have a great show. I'll see you, later somewhere along the line. Oh, he's so cute. So yeah.
I wanted to talk about something. Last time we talked, were you in
I don't know if I
Louisiana?
got to New Orleans yet. I think I was still in Texas. Is that true?
I'm not sure. I think so.
Well, anyone who's watching this, correct us.
Yeah. New Orleans was a whole nother wonderful magical thing, and you got to see some people you knew there, and
Right. Well, that's also the fun thing is that people I'm surprised that I haven't seen in years. I
yes,
didn't know, like people who were here in Philadelphia, or some people came from New York. In fact, I got some people coming tomorrow, matinee, who are taking the train in from New York.
right.
One of them is good old Mona Allen, who I've done Merrily with, and David Cady came down from New York, also a
We
Merrily.
also did Maryland. Yeah.
And
Oh, great.
oh, it's so fun to, and because all of us Merrily folk from 81, we're all still connected. We're a family. We will always be a family forever. We have a long email thread. We congratulate each other on stuff. Sometimes if we're in town where they are, we can go to weddings or this, that, or what have you. I don't know any Broadway show that's as close as we are, because we are old friends. We're all old friends.
Yeah.
And so he wrote the thread saying you should be proud of our Annie.
Yeah.
That was
He
nice.
was he was incredibly superlative about it. And this is something I'm going to say, I think I was talking about this last time too, maybe a little bit. So just hide your ears or just don't listen to this. I'm noticed what's cool for me is I like to notice details in writing, and writing of critique because it's my only connection to people's, one person's experience of seeing Kimberly Akimbo. And so, and I always love to see how it's skewed.
Hmm.
And I find a difference now, and it's different towns, and yes, and different sensibilities and different ways of viewing stuff. But what I'm finding now is more and more detail. And what I know about this is that you are adding more and more detail as you get deeper with the piece. And um,
Sometimes too much detail and has to tone it back a little bit.
well, actually, but it's a lot of detail. Yes, I mean but a lot of the detail is something that people may pick up on, but may not be necessarily that clear. But what it does is adds up, I imagine. And you just got this remarkable review. And again, I'm going to say that we always have to believe in both the negative and the positive if we're going to read reviews. But I think if we're going to read reviews for the sake of knowing how we did or knowing if it's a good show or not, that's also true. But what I look at with reviews is um, maybe the underlying and the details of what it is and what it represents to me. So, with that in mind, you just got this remarkable. You remember because I was telling you.
Talking to
Yeah,
our cat.
I'm not gonna read it out again. But if anybody wants to go to Annie's website where all the reviews are placed and
I'm not
um,
reading them, so
put
go
them
ahead.
there, and Facebook, which so many people get to look at. But what I love about what I read is that um, this reviewer got you in a big way, in that really understood the storytelling that was involved, and then also included your voice, and because it is a musical, and how and what that does to tell the story, and basically your characterization, which I know is growing and growing and growing deeper and deeper and deeper into this because you are 70 playing a 16-year-old and how that happens. Um, have there been, I mean, any other unique responses to that age? I know that you talk to people at the stage door, and more people are gathering, depending on the town, but are gathering at the stage door and talking to you about things. Um, but oftentimes they will talk about, oh, yeah, and I believe you are 16.
Yeah, that's why I always said, well, I said jokingly, did I pass for a 16-year-old? And they said,
Oh, yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So is that.
Hello,
Um,
jacket.
there he is. This is lovely jacket. Um,
All
he's
the times that we've lived together down there in Sarasota, that cat has never been on any table ever, and now
no,
he's on the table
and
all
this
the
is his
time.
new deal because he's trying out new things
Right?
before he
Transitions.
goes on. He transitioned because he's getting ready to do that in a way. I know it sounds dreary as we talk about right now, but it's not
It's
to us.
Halloween, so of course it's
It's
fun.
Halloween, and I have to tell you that I had some black velvet that I used to make a project, and there was left over, and he saw it, and
Mhm.
he said he's a tuxedo cat. He said, "I want to be a black cat for Halloween. Would you build a bib for me so that I cover up all my white?" Um, I'm not going to show you because Thea will object to that, I think.
No,
Um,
right. So
But and I didn't accomplish it anyway. So
no,
no, that's
it's
so
not what
unfair. I'm so sorry, sweetie. Or gentleman, you. He's an old man cat. But so yeah, we are going to do that, and I was going to build him a bib, but he hasn't sat still long enough for me to make that.
he's a cranky
And
little man. Why should
he's
he?
sort of forgotten that it's Halloween anyway until people come to the door. There, oh, he's very demure now. Okay,
Okay,
enough
good.
of that.
Okay.
Um, other other things we're really going to think about. Questions that I have for you that are maybe fresher and newer. Um, I think it's always very interesting. Um, this morning we were talking about travel and your rituals that you have to do, like pack up your trunk
In
starting
fact, everything on
today.
the couch back there is the things that are going
Right.
in the trunk.
So the trunk is
If
at the
it's a
theater,
bus,
right?
yeah. If it's a bus day, then I will bring both my suitcases to put down below. If it's a plane day, I keep the big suitcase with me and I put the littler suitcase in the trunk. Because it's just easier when you're doing flights and all that stuff. But it's now when I get to Virginia, we're going to Richmond, Virginia next. I can have both my suitcases. I don't have to wait till Tuesday to get everything out of the trunk. And so I'm just putting things in the trunk that can wait till Tuesday to get. So, like,
Right.
a steamer, like, an extra sweater, stuff like that. Um,
Great.
cooking utensils. Some people who've
Um,
been doing this tour for a while are accumulating so much stuff they can't close their trunk anymore.
um, a couple towns lately, especially Philly. That was a town where we spent some time because we were doing the play that Amy and I wrote, and you starred in at the
Right.
Walton.
Yeah.
And you're right down the street from there, aren't you?
Right down the street. Yeah.
And my co-writer Amy came to see you. Our good old Amy Whitman. Um, and didn't you take a little walk down to the
Yeah.
theater to
Yeah. Well, we
stand
were
outside?
walking around there. Yeah. I also
Yeah.
was here in, I think it was 2012 that I did
I
Embarrassments,
mean,
Polly Penn's new musical Embarrassments. And that was at the Wilma Theater.
which
So
is also, isn't it on the same, is it
it's
on Walnut
right,
Street?
like Kitty Corner from the
Yeah,
Country
they're
Music.
all three theaters that are all, I mean, and you're at the
Yeah,
Music Center.
it's the Avenue of the Arts anyway. So
Yeah.
Broad
Oh,
Street.
is that what they call it now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Because it is. Um,
There's a lot of theater, music, and all kinds of things. Philly's a great town. I love Philly. Yeah.
yeah, and you said that about Atlanta too, where you also were with Peter Pan, but um, it's it's nice to see that there are other beautiful. I loved it when we were there too.
Yeah.
It was like a little New York to me with all the brownstones and there's a quaintness when you're from New York, but that is so just a tad slower and just more reasonable in that way. And the parks and the history in Philadelphia is just remarkable. But um, and then you're going to Richmond, where you spent what, eight
Nine
months?
months there when I was nine.
When you were nine at
Well, my
nine.
dad was hired to come and be the head of the music department. Um, and he was so unhappy because he's a teacher.
Yeah.
So he looked very quickly for another job where he can go back to teaching. So I was only here in the ninth grade as a 9-year-old. So that was the fourth grade. Um, so it'd be fun. I'll be by the University of Richmond. I was hoping to be able to do a master class there with the students, but nobody responded. So uh,
That would have been kind of phenomenal.
yeah,
But your dad didn't respond to the university, so who cares?
that's right. There you
But tell this short story about when you were nine, we were teaching spelling through what is
Right.
it called?
Well, when I was 8, I was in Sioux City, Iowa, and Iowa had an incredible educational system. I don't know what it's
Right.
like now, but it was known as, the Iowa standards were pretty high. And I was learning how to spell phonetically as a dyslexic. I didn't know I was dyslexic, but that seemed to help. When I got to Richmond, Virginia, not the,
It didn't.
yeah. So the teacher would say, spell loud. And I go, wow,
OW.
WOWDA.
So phonetic
The water
spelling.
was not at all possible for me to spell, for instance. We lived behind this beautiful forest. I mean, we had these little houses, and then you go down a ravine. There was a little creek where the crawfishes were, and then step over into this beautiful forest. It went on and on and on. And so my 9 months in Virginia was pretty much in the forest.
Oh, great.
Where was Annie?
And,
Oh, she's in the forest,
and what were you doing there? Was
playing with the
that
fairies.
yes, your pretend time?
Yeah,
Because they were real. That wasn't pretend. That was your real time. And then you
yeah,
come home to your pretend time.
yeah. Pretend time with the humans, which didn't have quite the sense of humor as the fairies
Right.
do.
So that'll be fun. And after Virginia, where are you going?
We're going down to West Palm Beach, Florida, for a week,
Yeah.
and then we're going to Tampa. So I'm going
West
to
Palm.
be
We,
here in a
we
couple
spent a
weeks.
little time in West Palm too.
We sure did.
Um, and I have actually, I'm going to say this. So
Uh-oh.
sorry. Because you'll have memories when you go there. You were the entertainment at a Valentine's ball with all these wealthy West Palm Beachers, and two of the people were guess who?
I don't know, Blake. Who could they possibly be? Because they were very much Republican. No, they weren't Republicans at the time, though.
Yes, they were. Oh,
Were because he's been a
oh,
Democrat. He's been all kinds of things,
but that was through Lou, and Lou was a Republican. So,
I
but
think it was just because
I
they were
think it was maybe
rich
non-denominational
people. Yeah.
because it was Donald and Ivana Trump. Because their picture is, I still had the thing from it, but
I don't think I
oh,
met them, but yeah.
I'm sure you didn't, but because he wouldn't have.
Well, I wasn't pretty and young enough.
Yes, you were. You're very pretty and very young. You were about 28, and
No,
very
I
pretty.
wasn't 18 though.
No, you were past the age, really. I hope they're not listening. Anyway, enough of that. That's Politicks. Politics. Um, and
But I have
but
lots of connection with West Palm Beach because I had friends, family members who were actually involved with my parents years and years back at Sioux City, Iowa, and grew up with their kids in the West Palm Beach area. So when I went off to do the Burt Reynolds Jupiter Theater in '79, we were supposed to start in '78. Um, I had some sort of other college credits, and I didn't really have them, so I had to
and they
take
were
some
taking
classes
only, but
with
they were only taking Florida students.
right. So I had
That
to
was the point.
attend. And it
So
was
you
a,
had to
I
you
had to
had to
take a
take
couple classes
classes.
in order to qualify, right? Um,
Um, and even though your mother grew up in Central Florida,
well,
until
10
she
to
was
12, she's really most of the time in
until she was
Chicago.
12. Yeah. Um, and and then south of there, you were at Burt Reynolds, which is quite south of there. But then where do you go?
Jupiter's north of West Palm Beach.
No, it's not.
Wherever. Who cares? It's somewhere
Doesn't
the
matter.
other
It's
side of Florida that I don't care about usually.
between West Palm and
Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale sort of thing. But um, I think I could be proven wrong. I have been
I'm sure
wrong.
people watching this will correct us immediately.
That's right. Well, let's get on a map. If only we could tell.
Fine. Come on.
And
I'm
then where do you go?
Hmm?
Then where do you go?
I'm gonna go to Tampa. And I get to see,
Yay!
yeah.
And
We go to
that's when
North End. Yeah.
all the Sarasotans and they get in the St. Petersburgians
I liked
and
it a lot of cold winters
Water.
being up north.
Yeah. Yes.
Wisconsin, Michigan,
Yes. I
Minneapolis.
love that.
Okay.
Um,
Oh well.
that's great. I just realized my phone was still on. Great. What else can we talk about that's remarkable? Well, we did say that were there any, we talked about audience and we talked about, you had some talkbacks in the meantime. Did you?
Right. I got a chance to work with students in New Orleans,
Yes.
which were wonderful because I was teaching them how to create a solo musical. And some of them wanted me to look at their audition material for songs. And I said,
Mhm.
well, let's make this work. Let's let the monologue writing possibilities that you would do if you took your audition song and put it in a cabaret show. Let's see if
Yes.
that helps you with your audition song. And they made huge discoveries. Like they discovered, oh my God, I can create a monologue before I go into audition. Nobody gets to hear it, but I know it, which impacts how I sing that song. I said, yeah, you can do that all the time. If you're smart enough and allow yourself to be skilled enough, you can take an old standard and go in with a rock musical with it. If you know how to do it right and get the right monologue in front of it, you can create something new all the time. So that was a lot of fun. I've just been offered to teach a class. It's down the line a little bit. Trying to remember where it is. At Grand Rapids, Michigan, because they're looking for someone to come in and work on monologues. And I said, I'd love to work with monologues, but we're gonna be a little creative about it. We're gonna spend half of the class learning how to create your own monologue. And then we can look at the monologue work that you're already doing and see how that affects things. So that'll be fun. Yeah.
And some of my relatives may be seeing you in Grand
Oh,
Rapids.
good. All right.
Because, Um, my the homestead from my family from 5 generations ago is near Kalamazoo,
Okay.
and near it's Fenville.
We'll be going to
Um,
East Lansing too.
yes,
And
and that's where
that's
you're
where my
seeing my.
dad went to get his master's degree because he's from Michigan. And I still have, I'm carrying a little bit of ashes still that never
Right.
got released somewhere because we were hoping to do that up in Sage Lake, which was where he was a kid, but I just can't get up there. It's been years and years and years. So I thought, well, I'll take him to the campus. I'll
Yes.
release him in the campus. Shh, don't tell
And
anybody.
my uncle was there at the same time. We
That's right.
discovered, and they may have worked together in the commissary because they both had jobs there.
Yeah.
And my mother actually was there couple years later, um, as a freshman, and then she went over to Western Michigan, but to Kalamazoo. I also have relatives from on the my dad's side of the family founded Potterville, which is right next to East Lansing, and there's Potter Park, and that's my ancestors.
Right.
So there's all kinds of family in both areas, but mostly East Lansing. And that's really cool. Um, and then your dad's family came from a
West Branch,
place
Michigan.
north of there, West Branch, but it was those times when our families were like in the same places. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Um, it does occur to me that. Oh, and also I was thinking about back to those students. Wasn't that the school where you knew some of the
Talking
people
about New
there?
Orleans kids, they were
Yes.
great. I was teaching one more year with Broadway Theater Project in Tampa,
Right.
and one of the coordinators there, Blake Kohili, brought a lot of his students from that school. It's a great school,
That's,
by the way.
that's
Um,
great.
uh, New Orleans Creative Center. So I forget what it means, but it's NOCA.
It's like a visual and performing arts high school, isn't it?
But it's top notch.
Yeah.
It's a top notch school. I would send kids there in a heartbeat. It's
Wow.
an incredible,
Yeah.
incredible school, and the students are so amazing. So it was fun. Some in that class I already had from that time that we were doing it in the Broadway Theater Project. So it's great to
That's
learn.
great. I love that. Um, I want to. You triggered something that happened to me in my class in
Well,
our
that's
classroom
the
that I'm
next thing is I want
teaching.
to know what's going on with the class.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. It's profound. I am so. And I'll say this without any kind, and I may have said this last week too. Without any kind of judgment around it. Yes, sweetie, I'm going to talk about that again. I will talk about you, but right now I'm not. Okay. So, um, the beauty of you and I will always do this workshop as we can, when we can, if we're in the same place, because there's wonderful things gained from two different like perspectives, two different ways of saying the same thing almost always,
Mhm.
because we both see the same things.
Right.
Um, and sometimes there's a more effective way for one of us to say it or not. And it's wonderful because that gives also our students, when we are together in that class, a chance to glom onto one or both of us,
You're
and
having great success with this class
yeah.
without me, which is great.
And what's the beauty of being alone in the classroom is that um, untethered by any kind of. Yes, I'm doing the curriculum basically. What we have as curriculum um, is what we know we have to teach at any given time along the way. And I keep an eye on that because we have a limited time. We have about 15 weeks during which they have to come up with a 10-minute
Right.
something presentation. And I have to make sure that they are in in good shape before they even approach it as actors,
Right,
because
exactly.
the
And
short shrift that
and you have
happens.
less time than we had in the past, so you have to
Yeah, they're
really,
thinking, oh, well, we've got it. I've got all this time to finish it, but then don't think about, oh, now you have to present it
yeah.
because that is the final step.
Mhm.
So,
And as we often ask when we have their presentation, afterwards, we tell the audience, to the audience, you are actually in the classroom. You're still part
yes,
of our class, and your
exactly.
job is to be their scene partner. So
Right.
respond the way you want to respond, but it's not a judgment or anything. It's just your part. You're just their scene partner. That's all your job is. And then we ask the actors, what did you learn? What did the actor teach the writer by being in front of your scene partner? And
Yeah, that's an
that's what fun
interesting
with it discover.
question.
Yeah.
Always an interesting question. And we know that we know that there will be things learned. And it's something they can't know yet.
No.
They've had two former participants, a
Mhm.
senior this year. Maddie came in last week, I think, and spoke. It doesn't matter, Blake, the chronology. And then we had Marcus Cruz come in from Manhattan School of Music, a
We did
graduate
4 years
now.
ago. Yeah,
Um,
4 or 5 years
and
ago.
they mostly are there to say, "Hey, look, I went through it and I came out okay, and I came out very much okay."
And
But
what you can learn, other things that you should know about, and how it
yeah,
helped me in college and all kinds of stuff.
yeah,
So
exactly. Um, and also pay attention, input, put as much as you can into your piece because whatever you put in, you get out, and the more you put in, the better, more you get out of
mm,
it. Um, we've had students in the past who said, I could have challenged myself more.
yeah, but they don't
I
know until they try it. Yeah,
No. And the fact is, yes, but the fact that we're not thinking about it's in school. They've got homework. They've got all kinds of other things they're doing. Many of them are involved in all kinds of outside activities
yeah,
besides this
yeah,
theater.
yeah.
And I mean, so it's nice of them to think that, and I like that. But we would never judge them for not being able to do that. That whatever they did was whatever they could
Whatever
do.
they did was exactly what was supposed to
Yeah.
happen. You know.
So
Yeah.
this is what I learned this last week. While we gave them an I am assignment, which meant that they had to go home and write, I am this, I am a lover, I am a learner, I am strong, I am really weak sometimes, I have lots of friends, I am somebody who has lots of friends, I am a loner, I am lonely, I am somebody who lives in a very strange household. I am crazy. I am funny.
Mhm.
All those I ams. And then I didn't know exactly that I was going to do this with them. So I got to a point where I needed to hear from each one of them because I didn't always hear from them in terms of a piece of writing that they did. I wanted to have each of them standing in front of their classmates who are very giving. We know
And
um,
good scene
it's a
partners.
very, very, very safe place, and they know that I'm not going to judge them at all either. And I wanted them to read their IMs. And with the first student who volunteered, now, and I love seeing arms up in the air saying, "Yes, me! I want to read to my friends and classmates." Um, with the first student, um, she finished, and I said, "This is not a judgment. But I think let's, I introduced this first. I said, listen, I want you all standing here. And the fact is, we could read these, all of us. We could each read them. You're not doing readings anymore. From now on in the semester, when you get up in front of folk with something in front of you, it's never a reading. We can do that ourselves. Let's use this as a time to speak and say and express in front of, and the expression is of your own work.
Right.
That being said, let's use I am for that. So with the first student, I said, okay, let's, once I stopped her, I said, so what if, let's give it a context. So that's what you do when you create something from just a piece of writing. If you aren't going to read it to us, then place it in a place. So let's try that. And so she adjusted a little bit and gave some context for what she was saying. I said, thank you. Who's next? And with that next person, we added another element, which might be some kind of color. It might be give it an emotional life. You have a feeling about this. The next person, so they have a context and emotional life. So the next person, and now you have a reason for saying what it is. And now who are you talking to? So with the fourth person, it was all those three things. And then who are you talking to? And then
And
I
then
added
create a
the element.
monologue out of something so simple. Yeah.
And so then, and I was reminding them, this is the way you approach a song, and this is the way you approach a monologue. When you're singing it anyway, you're giving yourself all those answers to the questions that I'm asking you.
Did
So
you even have to give the assignment of an aha somewhere in there too? Ah,
yes, I did.
yeah.
But that's, that was like down the way a little bit because I had an aha after I said the third idea, I thought, oh, this is an exercise. Oh, good. All right. This is something we're going to do from now on
Yeah.
because it's a great place to exercise all there. It's not about the writing because they were telling you the truth. Everything they said was their truth.
Mm-hmm.
It was automatic in this writing. And they were talking of themselves and giving us who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they they were and then I said, who are you talking to? And how does that change anything? And I said, what is your first, Savannah? What is your first line? I am happy. So I said, I'm going to be the person you're talking to, and I'm going to give you the first line from my perspective. You are not happy. And she started with it and said, I am happy. I am there. I'm there. And it
Oh,
started to be this argument
lovely.
around herself. So,
Lovely.
which is a wonderful thing to think about as you decide uh, there is one person you're talking to. That can help stabilize that. So, yes. And then I said, all right, how about a discovery? This is what I started introducing folks. This is the aha.
Mhm.
So even the actor who is standing in front of us reading things that they know, let's have them have a discovery and then we see a discovery.
Mhm.
See what happens if you discover something you thought you knew but didn't know, or by whatever that is, just some kind of discovery. And
And then how does that change everything after that?
exactly.
Yeah.
Um, and
Beautiful, Blake. That's so beautiful.
Oh, it's a wonderful exercise. And yes, on the spot, it affected several of them, and others. I said, listen, just absorb this. You may not present this idea. I mean, show us that you understood that. Like you didn't find an absolute aha here, but you're going to be looking for it. And I want you to start including all these things, and every time you present to us. Um, Starting with the concept, because you're going to be doing this alone. You're going to be building your stage, and the room that this happens in for us. And sometimes it won't be visible.
Mhm.
And sometimes it doesn't matter that it's visible. If somebody is sitting on a bench, for instance, or it's two blocks that become maybe a bed or a seating place, is it their bedroom? is it just a comfortable place to be? Are they in the park? I mean, and so they'll start building the concept around them, and start building that in. Uh, I said, how many of you at this point don't quite know what you're doing yet? And only one person raised their hand. Um, I'm gonna tell you a little example of a very profound thing that happened. I entered the room Tuesday with a little qualm because I was concerned about one student.
Right.
And whenever we are concerned about one student, that's not a good thing because everybody else gets short shrift if you are just so intent on this. And it's usually somebody who isn't uh, quite, you think, coming along the way. And you want everyone to have an experience that everybody else is having is at least. And so, and what they, I think I began the day saying, you are all going to be performing something in January. Before Christmas, we are going to see it. We're going to be knowing what it is, and it's finished by that time. So you can give the actor a chance. You only have 1 week coming back. The actor a chance to,
Memorize as much as you can or do whatever you want
uh,
during Christmas break.
yeah. And so this person raised his hand almost immediately for the IMs, the IM experiment,
Wow.
um, because he had it written down. And that, whether or not he has much else written down didn't make as much difference to me. I just really wanted to make sure that he understood that he was going to be standing in front of people. Um, and I can say this: he's neurodivergent and has other concerns about society and being.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and he got up and told the truth about himself by
Wow.
saying, "No, neurodivergent. I am lonely sometimes. And other things without giving away much." And I just I thought, okay.
You
So I
go.
was able to point to that when he said, I'm not quite sure what it is yet. I said, I think it's in your IMs.
Mhm.
There's a story for each one of your IMs,
Mhm.
or an experience that you've had, or an experience you can make up about each of your IMs, because the core of it is always going to be in your truth. And your truth is in the I am. So
You get it?
those.
Mm.
And I will find out on Tuesday if he's any further along because of that. Um, and
Did he have a spark of excitement in a way?
Yeah, I
Good.
mean, he did when he was speaking,
Wow.
and he understood that. Okay, yeah, I guess my excuses are not going to work as well because now I have this thing in front of me, but
Well,
I
you
have a
got
place
it.
to start.
Even if you just did that.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, I talked to his teacher about that too, and I said I'm very happy with it, even if that was expanded to a da 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 da, or a 5 minute list of IMs, an IM poem that is 7 minutes long. Um, there is a bit of we haven't had to deal with this before, but um, we like to think that maybe the shortest they are 7 or 8 minutes, maybe, but we've never had to put the restriction on that, just because we want some meat in what they're doing.
Often we have to
So,
get them to cut down because they've gone to 14, 15.
right. So that that class ended with two people showing their beginning.
Hmm.
Um, and I was aware of both of them because I had already heard a piece, but they were so ready that because they had come from the class the week before,
Right,
knowing that there's more.
right.
So um, they were, well, without knowing what happens in the class, it felt like they were miles ahead now,
Right,
because
right.
what they presented had a context, it had a change, it had an aha.
I'm so glad
Um,
you're telling me this, Blake, because now I'm rethinking my class with the kids, except that these kids don't know me. So the I am may be too vulnerable. If I had them for a little while, that might be the case. I'm
I
wondering,
would not decide that
okay,
because if you think about the fact that I didn't know any of their I ams,
that's right.
very willing to tell me.
Mhm. And
And
these kids have already been in class, they all know each other. Right.
no,
No, no,
they
I'm
don't.
saying the kids I will be seeing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
But I mean, my kids have all been in class and don't know each other.
right. Yeah.
Yes, two. So even when they are socially together and in that same class, um, these kids, have their groups and they have their friends and best friends. Some of them are best friends for life. I mean, for a long time. And um, and that's an interesting concern too. Not concern, but it's funny because some of them are writing about other people
Right.
who are going to be hearing it, which is an interesting limitation. But that's for next week. The um, every time this happens like this, the whole class.
Exactly.
I
We
think
want
there
you to
was a
hear.
pause
Yeah.
after this,
Yeah.
about after that actor,
Uh-huh.
because, and I said that was brave. I like to pull, and that statement, I want to say it whenever I feel like that was a step out of comfort
Mhm.
and making a step. One of the things that we may have said before, and but we found last year is, I guess it's a Blake quote. I don't know. I'll take the credit, but it is go as far as you can and then take one more step.
Right.
Um, because that's learning. It's what you're doing all along this trip,
Mhm.
and this tour, and you are you're taking one more step with every production.
Right.
With every
See,
night, with every city, but also probably each night in that city.
right.
Yeah. You're taking a new step. You're getting toward. um, so that's the kind of stuff that happens. And
What's the assignment for this coming Tuesday?
you, I always had to review it. Um, shoot. Yeah. Oh, it's a continuation. They're all going to be they're all going to be presenting the first 5 minutes.
Great.
Another experiment, something that we had before is um, write your first line, write a tag or a
Elevator, elevator speech.
an
Uh,
elevator
yeah,
speech,
elevator
a,
pitch.
a
Right.
very quick elevator a pitch, um, and or then write the first line.
Mhm.
So those are all beautifully realized.
Mhm.
Um,
As we always say, your first line and your last line are the ones that you change the most.
right. Yes. Um, and because they all have had exposure to some of our exercises, when somebody tells a story, um, uh, flat out tells a story of how things, or says, "Yeah, like so and so is was my best friend. I remember when I first met them, and I glommed onto them right away, and they were really cool, and so I'm able to say, hey, remember, go back to that point
Right.
and tell us the story of you entering the room and seeing that person for the first time. Go there. That's so much more meaningful. It's so much more personal. It brings us to that.
Right.
Um, so that's true. And we'll talk after on Tuesday. I'm looking forward to um, being interviewed live with an audience.
Right. That's right.
Um,
That's on Tuesday. Yay.
yeah, and it's not recorded anywhere. So, but I've spoken to the interviewer. We've had a couple hours of talk about um, the focus on my talk and interview is my life in solo, but also the power of solo theater.
Right.
And I let's talk about imposter syndrome because it comes up a lot when I was talking to her, and when I think about I've been in front of big groups before talking about myself, and I like it, you know, but um, when I've had to look back over things that have happened in the last 50 years, it's um, it's daunting because it means, well, did this really happen? Yeah, it did. Okay, this is really true. Okay, fine. Oh yeah, I did that. Um, and is this something people I don't think I have a problem with, is this something people want to listen to? Because my interviewer is so enthusiastic. So she's determining that too. I'm going to ask you questions that born out of what things we've talked about, um, and focused as much as we can on where solo played in my life, from like the first New York solo in my 20s, um, and on,
Right.
and why we created this company. And but I'll have things to report after I
Sure.
learn some
Just want to
things.
know. I want to
um,
know.
I encouraged her because I did an interview with an artist, an artistic director of a major company here, about 6 months ago, and from a small talk we had ahead of time, I asked him a question that I thought would draw into his really deeper self, and it did. It was just beautiful because to me, that's the stuff of a nice, deep interview. It's fine to hear about things, stories of things that happened, but I would much rather hear from, and I'd much rather tell for this one,
Right.
my heart, and from things that made a difference in, in me and in my life. So it'll be fun.
Yeah.
um it's kind of nice to visit that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool. Well, you're giving me
Oh,
all kinds of fun ideas to think about while working with some classes. Uh,
great.
I need to get back to getting ahead of myself and finding cities that do have students that might be interested because it's just my passion. I love to be
It is.
in front of students, helping them discover something about their um, their truth, but theatrically, and it's a delight. So,
And
it's
the great thing,
life is about following our passions, right? So,
yeah,
I'm following my passion by doing this show, but I also enjoy being in front of students.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that, what the way that this O Solo Mio workshop has worked out is that we have
it was what you
evolved.
call our high school program. Yeah.
Yeah, we evolve it every year.
Mhm.
um and what it becomes is more efficient and more efficient and more efficient. That's a terrible word to use, but it's true. Um,
But
in
but but you and I are also in the moment with students, so a lot of it is, this particular class needed this, and but we
Yes,
wouldn't know that until we
yeah,
got there.
yeah,
So we are also listening to them to figure out, oh, it'd be a great prompt for this particular group of people.
exactly.
That's when fine tuning for me also feels like, because we're continuing to learn from our student audience, what they need. Yeah. So we're
Well,
not going in with this is our curriculum and this is what we do. We're very
yes.
organic about it. So, yeah.
I just had a thought, and they don't have to hear this, but
Who's they?
one of my students just came from doing a chorus line,
Uh-huh.
and her piece is based in, she came to this year, from the summer production she did, um, knowing that she wanted to do something based in her experience of doing that, but as also, as I got to remind the whole class how many people understand what a chorus line is and where it came from, it came from personal story from
Yes.
people. So
It's
she
all that. Yeah.
I mean, so it brought it into that classroom, and for those who understood that and had seen it, that was really helpful.
Yeah.
And we have a very tight, uh, uh,
Connection.
yeah,
I
and
think
understanding about how to get somewhere really quickly. We have very few words sometimes,
right.
um,
Right.
and so that's really cool. Yay!
Okay. Well, we should wrap this up. Um,
Yes.
and I'll try and be good about getting this out sooner than later.
Well,
Um, but this has been great because I'm still, Annie's great adventure on the road is keep learning. It'll be nice to be past Philly after all the creatives and everything to just
yeah.
explore. Now it puts everything on a different level. And
Yep.
so next few weeks, I can't wait to share because there's more to learn. Um, and
Speaking of that, we do this, and I do this, I think, every time so far, or twice before, um, with the question, what did you learn from one audience member?
um,
Either something said in a talkback, something said at the stage door.
well, I think the last time we talked, I talked about the student who had done uh, a Make-A-Wish Foundation. He'd
Right.
never seen, it was his first musical, he's never seen a musical before.
Yeah.
And
See,
he had a Make-A-Wish because of his illness. And
yeah.
he learned something profound from watching the show.
Yeah.
But it's fun to see acting students come to this. It's always fun to see people who are huge Merrily fans. Oh, one thing I've learned, I'm a Broadway legend. I didn't know that.
And you heard
I
that
know I
word
am. I
said
guess I am.
When Miguel was saying goodbye, and he said, "Oh, I got to
It was Pierce. He
kiss
said, I was
it
too,
was Pierce."
yeah, Pierce, he said, I was trying to be really cool with you,
Right.
I'm having so much fun and asking questions, but I have to geek out and tell you, I couldn't believe that I was working with Ann Morrison, the Broadway legend, because we study you in college. And I went, you do?
But wasn't it Miguel who said something about I
No,
got
Gail, no, when we have this thing called, um, it's a send off. It's called Happy Trails when people leave, and the company manager gives them anagram book, and
oh,
we
yes.
all give little bookmarks that say how we feel about them in it. So when they go away, they can have their own anagram book, but then all the things that people thought. And
Yes.
but he reads a whole funny monologue that he creates, and he talks about. And Miguel is very rarely had a chance to kiss a lot of Broadway legends.
Three in a row.
And that's all right. I'm a Broadway legend.
Yeah, I know. This is what
Oh
you're hearing.
no,
This is what some critics are
I'm
calling.
just an old broad. Oh God, I love
But
you. Can't
so
wait to talk to you again.
right,
But
right. Okay, all
yeah.
right.
And I'm glad that our old man Cat actually joined us this time. That was unusual. I've never seen him on camera before.
We
For new
started
for new jacket.
from there, and he volunteers. He just told me, "Isn't this over yet?"
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's right.
yeah.
We
He
didn't
says
time.
it's
So,
time for it to be over. All right, my darlings.
all right.
See you. Keep holding down the fort, and I'll keep going on my great adventure.